If you're a solopreneur or a creative, you know how your career can be filled with exhilarating highs and daunting challenges. It can be lonely and isolating, and also extremely rewarding. In this week's podcast, I respond to a reader's request to explore the unique journey of the solo hustle and how to navigate the ups and downs. From identifying your needs to defining success, knowing when to pivot, and processing losses, I explore practical strategies for thriving in the independent pursuit of entrepreneurship and a creative life. Hey everyone, I'm Laverne McKinnon, and welcome to the Moonshot Mentor podcast, where I provide tools and insights to support your career growth, including grief work. Unprocessed grief leads to a loss of resiliency. Resiliency is a critical element to long-term career success. Long-term career success leads to financial stability and fulfillment. So that's why I'm both a coach and a certified grief recovery specialist. Okay, let's get to it. An anonymous reader reached out asking me, and I quote, to share about grief around entrepreneurship, creative life, and just that solo hustle way of working that can feel lonely because we are not allowed to mourn what we think we're losing in order to do this. I love this prompt so very, very much. And wouldn't it be wonderful if the word hustle meant a person dancing with abandon, enjoying the music and the movement of their own body? When I first became an entrepreneur, I felt like I was a dancing queen. I was having the time of my life, and I loved being in control of my time, running with my ideas, and building a business. I believed that the only thing I needed to succeed was work and, of course, a little bit of luck. The hard truth is that it takes a significant amount of time, like years, to launch a career as a creative or for a business to succeed. So how do you keep going when the isolation, shrinking bank account, and ticking clock weigh so heavily that you find it hard to breathe and you no longer feel like you can dance? Today, I identify 4 steps to navigating the solo hustle, including grieving the losses that come with pursuing your moonshot. Here are the 4 steps. First, identify your needs. Recognizing and addressing the parts of yourself that require support and motivation to achieve your goals. Second, define success. Visualize and detail your desired outcome. Third is to know when to quit. Understand and accept when it's appropriate to pivot or let go of certain goals. And fourth is process losses. Acknowledge and grieve any losses you've encountered on your journey in order for you to maintain your emotional well-being. Okay, let's unpack each of these 4 steps. That first one, identify your needs. Back in the day, I took a computer programming class. It was a horrible experience, I'm not gonna lie, and I barely scraped by with a C. The one key learning, though, I was able to salvage is this concept of garbage in, garbage out. Now, I've taken this expression and used it as a way to analyze how I'm taking care of my needs. Each of us requires fuel in different ways. If you're not fueling yourself properly and according to your own unique needs, you will not be able to go the distance. For example, in stating the obvious, if I don't eat healthy foods consistently, I'm not taking care of my basic physical needs. When I eat Greek yogurt, granola, and blueberries for breakfast, my physical energy stays consistent throughout the morning. When I get too caught up and I forget to eat lunch, my energy plummets and my cognitive ability diminishes. If I eat too late at night, then it's really difficult for me to get up in the morning. What do you need physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, and socially to continue the solo hustle? I encourage you right now to push the pause button and take a few minutes to write down what you need. Taking it out of your head and putting it down on paper solidifies what will set you up for the side hustle marathon. Here are my needs to give you some further guidance and structure. So physically, in addition to the previous examples, I need to eat 5 colorful fruits and vegetables every day, avoid processed sugar and deep fried food, and get 8 hours of sleep. I also need to do some form of exercise every day, even if it's just an easy walk to release stress and anxiety. Emotionally, I need to journal and meditate on a consistent basis. I also need weekly therapy and regular dinners with my family to feel love and support. Mentally, I need to be learning and challenged so I can seek out books and online classes just to really challenge me. I also need downtime every night to watch TV and just let my mind rest and wander freely. Spiritually, I need to be in nature. Walks actually serve more than one purpose. and to connect with others through deep conversation. Financially, I need sufficiency rather than abundance. The quest for abundance actually puts me into a scarcity mindset and stresses me out. Socially, I need more time alone, but when I'm with friends, I prefer one-on-ones or small groups. Now, you may have different or additional categories than the ones that I've listed. Make it your own. Know yourself and get clear on your needs so you can get them met. Number 2 is defining success. One of the biggest mistakes I see in my clients when it comes to defining success is a moving goalpost. When my clients don't have clarity on what success means to them, they're constantly chasing after their tails. Look to identify success as steps that are within your control. James Clear, the author of the New York Times bestselling book Atomic Habits, says that success comes from consistent, small improvements over time rather than big actions or sudden epiphanies. My small daily success metrics look like this. Did I do what I said I was going to do today? Did I honor my values today? Did I take care of my needs? If you mess up, simply assess and course correct. Do not judge. One additional pro tip from James Clear: be sure that you're not treating long-term goals as short-term goals. One of my clients is a writer who identified success as creating their own TV series and winning an Emmy. They started working with me after being staff for 3 years, and they were feeling really frustrated with their perceived lack of success. What they failed to understand were the timelines to build relationships and credibility, develop a show, find advocates, create a pitch, sell the idea to a financier or distributor, write the script and or address notes, and then allow for time for a green light decision to be made. And then even after a green light, it takes months or years for production to be completed. My client needed to educate themselves and then reassess their definition of success. Okay, number 3 is knowing when to quit. One of the best pieces of advice I received when I was getting my MBA, my Master's of Business Administration, was to know when it's time to throw in the towel. And that's not a bad thing, as long as you are clear on what values you're honoring when stepping away. As you're in the midst of your solo hustle, you're going to have new experiences and gather fresh information. This data is going to help inform you if you let it. So, for example, at the time of this publishing of this podcast, the entertainment industry is in the midst of a massive contraction with a 20% unemployment rate. While there's a strong belief that the industry will recover, there's no timeline or a crystal ball. So many folks are making a choice to pivot to new careers because of the lack of predictability about a return and financial solvency. So this is new information and new experience that didn't exist 5 years ago. So it's important for people to take this in as they contemplate quitting. Understand and accept when it's appropriate to pivot or to let go of certain goals. Remember, your values change over time, and quitting can be a reflection of those values. Finally, number 4 is processing losses. I don't believe you can be solo hustling and not experience loss. The loss may be acute and lead to grief, or it may be minor and just leave you feeling sad for a period of time. It's important to acknowledge and grieve any loss so that you maintain your resiliency. Grief is unique to each of us, so what may deeply impact one person may have no effect on another. Losses from the solo hustle can take many forms. Here are just a few examples: a loss of community, romantic relationships, social life, confidence, financial security, downtime, self-care. Take a moment now to consider what losses you're experiencing from your solo work. Now, what can you do if you're grieving? I'm going to talk you briefly through my LEARN framework, L-E-A-R-N. L stands for look. Look at the loss head on. Before anything else, it's crucial to acknowledge that a loss has actually occurred. E is for explore. Explore the meaning of the loss. As human beings, we are meaning-making machines. Our brains literally cannot tolerate not knowing, so we create reasons for every event. Even if the meaning is harmful, it's better than not knowing. A client who lost funding for her business created a harmful meaning. I'm worthless, no one believes in me, and it stopped her in her tracks. A is address. Address the pain of the grief event. This can be done through journaling, talking with friends, therapy, coaching, and rituals, like writing and then burning an FU letter. R is reframe. Reframe the meaning attached to the loss if the meaning is hurtful. Rewriting meaning is not meant to encourage toxic positivity. It's important to take responsibility for one's words and actions, as well as one's role in the setback. Looking at the meaning is meant to make a fair assessment of what happened and not make gross generalizations like, I'm a complete failure, or to minimize, it's not that big of a deal. So with that previous example, my client wrote a new meaning. So instead of, I'm worthless, no one believes in me, her new meaning is, VC funding is tough to get and I'm not the first one to lose it. N is for nurture agency. Regaining the feeling of control is the marker of a return to resiliency. Most people feel helpless, hopeless, and powerless after a setback. But once they create a meaning that's empowering, they can begin the process of returning to a sense of wholeness and rebuilding. Nurturing agency means taking action steps informed by the meaning one has created from the loss. In the coming months, I'll be taking a deeper dive into each one of these steps. Before we wrap up, though, let's take a quick look at the loneliness that frequently comes from the solo hustle. As an extrovert, the solo hustle might not suit you because you love being around people, and alone time may leave you feeling lonely and isolated. Even if you're an introvert who self-motivates and thrives with solo work, you may still experience loneliness. Loneliness is more about your mental and emotional state than it is about literally being physically alone. We all require human interaction and authentic relationships. So whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, it's important to take time for self-care and reflection and nurturing intimate, authentic relationships. Now, when I say intimate, I don't mean sexual. Intimate as in the ability to be vulnerable with another person. For example, I lead a group of independent film and television producers who frequently work solo as they build their slates and put their projects together. The one piece of feedback I consistently hear from the group is how much being in a community fuels them and keeps them moving forward. And we only meet for 2 hours twice per month. So the best thing you can do is to expend some of your precious energy by cultivating intimate relationships where you can be honest about your challenges, whether it's with another person or a group. So as we wrap up, it's clear that the solo hustle is a complex journey marked by highs and lows, freedom and challenges. Whether you're dancing to your own rhythm or struggling to catch your breath, remember that acknowledging your needs, defining your success, knowing when to quit, and processing your losses are crucial steps. And don't forget to connect with others and nurture yourself along the way. Let's keep the conversation going and build a community where we can all thrive together. Okay, that's it for this week. Next week, I explore career resiliency through the journey of a poinsettia plant I bought last December. It just didn't feel right trashing it because the winter holiday season was over. So it got me thinking that just like poinsettias, our professional lives go through cycles. We experience growth, change, and sometimes the need to shed parts that no longer serve us. But first, we have to ride out the withering away of parts of ourselves in order to get to renewal. So I look forward to sharing that with you. Before you go, please do rate and review this blogcast. It's so helpful to support my work and growing my community. So I really appreciate you taking a few moments to do that. Remember to head over to Moonshot Mentor on Substack for journal prompts to help navigate the ups and downs of the solo hustle. You can also visit me at moonshotmentor.com where you can find links to all of my social and how to work with me. And a very big thank you to Lynn Chen for the video and audio editing. You can find her on social at Ms. Lynn Chen. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next week.